So I just read Shitty First Drafts by Anne Lamott, and I personally really enjoyed this passage because I understand and can completely relate to it. The writer of this passage explains how the shitty first draft of a paper is the starting point of every great paper. And when the writer said that, I immediately related it to myself of how at first, when I do certain things, I might start off really random, slow, awkward, or weird, but that's the very things that keep me motivated to keep going if I truly love it. And then eventually I get better at it, then eventually become the best at it. The writer explains the trials and errors she went through before actually getting a solid paper for her magazine. I really understand where she came from and her thought pattern because she spoke about even questioning herself sometimes as her paper just wasn't what it was supposed to be. When you know how good you can be and what other people expect from you, and at the same time you're not coming through like you should be, you can have doubts about yourself and your craft, and thoughts of reconsideration start ringing in. But I've been through this process and know that only the most successful ones have also been through this. And that's why their end product is so good no matter what they do, because they had the audacity to keep going even though times were rough. It's a different feeling when you get to the other side and actually become successful from it. You have an immense amount of satisfaction. And the writer of this paper is saying how this process of failing, then succeeding, being confused, then succeeding, being slow in the beginning, and then succeeding is her process. Success doesn't come from being perfect the whole way through. It comes from failure and frustration and confusion. The first draft of her papers, or any great writer's paper, always start out shitty, and that's what people don't expect. The writer explained how the most successful and financially stable authors of the world don't write their papers fluidly. It's usually very stressful at first. They get all the ideas out on a shitty first draft, then try to break it down to make it make sense, which is the hardest part, and is usually the part that is the most frustrating. But the part that people see is the end result, and that end result, seeming as perfect as it may be, is just the tip of the iceberg that people don't realize. It's good to remember these things because when you need motivation to keep going, you can always keep in the back of your mind that the hard times are what it takes to succeed. The rise is never perfect, whether you're a writer, an athlete, an entertainer, an actor, a comedian, a politician, or a scientist, because no matter how different the journey is, if that person is successful, they more than likely can relate in their adventure to success.